This week's episode is brought to you by the Film Addicts podcast.
Those dickheads.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Podcast Assemble, the show where you come for your rambling geeky download. My name's Tommy, and I am delighted, as always, to be joined by my friend and co-host from across the pond. It's our resident malfunctioning synthetic of the pod, DL. How are you?
How am I? I'm great.
How are you?
How am I doing? I'm doing well.
That big guy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Are you happy?
I like how you said it malfunction.
Yeah, of
like
course.
that's very politically correct.
He's a synthetic. He's not a human.
Yeah, I know. But like, there's other words you could have used that were not politically correct. You're very
interesting acting choice.
Yeah.
Let's say that much. And we are joined this week by our gresident. That's our guest resident, the man behind the Stitch Up, the Film Addicts podcast, Hit 66 Sound and Screen. It is Regan. Regan's back.
Going straight into a Charles Xavier. I love it. Hey, everybody. What's happening?
Welcome back, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good. You guys look amazing. Dre, fucking marriage suits you, mate. Like I said, you're looking svelte.
Lean, right?
Just
Out
thank you.
Out of marble, mate.
Is svelte your word of the day? Do you have one of those, like, did you pull it off your, like, toilet paper?
Yes, that's exactly what I have. I have word of the day toilet paper because it's 1994.
That sounds awesome, actually.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Wiping your butt with svelte. I like that. I think that's
Like they did in the old times.
I genuinely have like about 50 tabs open on my Google Chrome on my phone, which are just words that I've heard, whether it's on a podcast or read in a book, and been like, that's a fun word I need to remember. And I never remember any of them.
50 tabs open, you a serial killer? Fucking hell, mate. That's
literally.
It's like a terrible way to remember the words.
I keep going, oh, look at these later and remember them. Then
Surely
I just never look
better
back.
method than just Chrome tabs on your mobile device, not even on your desktop.
They're going to get in touch with you and be like, stop looking up floxenoxenarcy hilly-pillification, you dickhead.
I can't find my phone to find it, otherwise I'd do it now. My phone's holding Dre's phone up so that you can see us both, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'd find one for you and tell you.
That's okay.
What's been happening, guys?
Heaps.
Regs, when was the last time you were on the podcast?
It was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
No, that's right. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Too many words.
Yeah, and I never watched it because you guys at least you weren't a fan. I don't remember. Regan, what did you think?
Don't listen to me.
I like anything with monkeys, you know?
Ah, fair.
I do. One of my favorite videos that I've seen online recently is just a bunch of monkeys being fed. Like a guy just puts down a bucket of bananas and these monkeys literally go ape shit. And it's one of the best things I've ever seen. Little tiny monkeys, little big monkeys. And it's just,
nice.
It was wonderful.
Little big monkeys.
Little big monkeys, yeah. Because they're little,
Love
but they're
little big
bigger than the
monkey.
little ones. Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming you haven't seen the one where the chimps eat other monkeys. That one's not as
It's
not as
that one I watched.
Curious Georgie.
I was going to say, is that going to change your whole vibe on monkeys?
Yeah, I'm pretty anti-monkeys.
Isn't that the plot
one.
of Yellow Jackets?
Oh, it's a bit of that, a bit of snacky. I mean,
A little bit of snacky.
Snacky.
Well, fine, guys. Thanks both for asking. I appreciate you asking how I am. I'm doing pretty good over here, but that's all right.
You didn't give us
That's
a
all right.
chance,
That's
mate.
yeah, he never does. He just likes the guilt trip.
good. What's been happening, Regs?
Oh, mate, I had it's been a busy few weeks, but the peak of my week was I had a shoot with Harry Garside, the Australian boxer, who just kind of lost, famously lost at the Olympics.
Hey, don't rub it in, man. Jesus, poor guy just lost at the Olympics.
Well, nah, because he took it so well, because he's such a, sort of breakdown stereotypes kind of guy. And he's got a book coming out called The Good Fight, which is sort of like a bit of a,
fun.
a sort of self-help book as well. And he's a lovely dude. And he had this book launch that I went to film and all that stuff. And I introduced myself, me and Alex, my camera assistant, we introduced ourselves because I don't want you to get a camera in your face and not know who it is. So we're chatting away and all that stuff. And he says, how long have you been doing this? And I said, about 25 years, because I've been doing it since I was like 16, 17. And he's like, how old are you? And I said, well, I'll be 42. I'll be 42 this year. And he goes, fucking aging like fine wine, mate, which is exactly what Dre said to me.
I mean, I didn't want to say anything. Look at that hair.
I know. It's
true.
It's mostly
true.
crayon. But no, Dre said that to me upon our first meeting when I was there in Sydney. And I said to him, it's all boxing. And I think he thought I was taking the piss, but I've been boxing training since I was like 25. So it probably is a bit of that as well.
I mean, Yeah, I was pretty sure you were going to say he's been breakdancing at one point there. I was going to say, at least somebody can breakdance.
Like, what was her name?
That's a juggernaut. That
laser
joke.
gun or something.
Yeah, laser something. What
Was
a name as well.
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Raygun.
Raygun. That is a dope name. I'm
For
on
a terrible breakdancer.
I'm on board with Raygun. I don't understand. Like, are you kidding me? That was awesome.
Now, I know you love conspiracy theory, DL.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the conspiracy theories around it?
About Raygun?
Yeah, that she was part of like a really specific club, and all of the judges who chose the person to go breakdance the Olympics were all from that specific club. It goes
Who
real
has the
deep.
time, dude?
Jesus Christ.
Who has the time?
I mean, she was just a happy-go-lucky soul who looked like she was being tased. All right, just leave the poor woman alone.
I agree.
She absolutely
I agree.
looked like she's
Well,
been tased.
I'm interviewing at a company, and one of their Olympians is a sales rep at the company and also a medaling Olympian. I'm like,
Oh,
Jesus, dude, that is impressive. I'm
Yeah.
definitely not going to make the cut.
phenomenal.
Yeah, like, how do you-
Imagine managing a medal-winning Olympian.
Yeah, I mean, she's like, I gotta take time off, and you're like, why? She's like, well, I'm going to the Olympics. It's like, what? What are you doing selling stuff?
No wonder you're hitting the gym so hard. You've just got.
I know. I need to keep up, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can start gymming with this person.
I mean,
Maybe you'll
let's
get
be
even,
real.
what do you say, svelte?
Svelter?
You get even more svelte.
Guys, I'm a long way from being an Olympian. Let's be honest. Anyway, there's a lot. The Olympics, despite me not seeing any of them, there's a lot of it in my newsfeed, and I'm loving it.
That's
Yeah.
Everyone wants more Reagan in their life, effectively, and all the memes that have come out of it. Guys, if you want to hear us chatting about our weeks, feel free to stick around. There will be time codes in the description, as always, supplied by friend of the show and editing genius, Mr. Matthew Bliss of Blister.fm. Stick around, we'll give you his details at the end of the podcast. And while you're there, Regs, I know you've tried before, but I don't know if you managed to do it on every single app platform of possibility. Would you give us 5-star review? Would you do that for us?
I normally say 11. I'm going to say 15 because then you have to have
God.
3 separate accounts. Take your parents. Your parents aren't using Spotify. They're listening to like ABC radio. Just steal their phone. Give the pod the likes, man. Give them the stars.
Yeah, we'd appreciate, guys, if you'd give us 5 stars. It helps with algorithms and things we truly do not understand. One question for you, though, Regs. Do you want to spruik your podcast so people can give you 5 stars? Where can the lovely listeners find you?
Everywhere. We're basically the same place that you guys are on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, all that stuff. It's the Film Addicts podcast that I do with my main man, Addy. And it's this, but 100% positive. Basically.
We're like yin and yang.
Exactly, yeah. Except instead of an American and a pom, it's an Australian and a young Indian boy. So which makes it sound really terrible. He's 21 or he's 22. No, he's just turned 21. So
The police are just going to break your door down.
I didn't say he's a small Indian boy. Like that would be a very different vibe. But yeah, we're good pals and we have a lot of fun. We had a kind of an unexpected hiatus recently because Addy got really sick. He went back home to India and he was he doesn't live there because he's studying elsewhere, and so he went back home and he got really ill. And so we were off. We haven't had an episode.
But you're back?
Since it's June was our last episode, but we recorded 2 back-to-back yesterday. It'll be coming out soon.
Amazing. It's great to hear you guys are back, and we look forward to hearing those 2 new episodes.
Thanks.
Let's talk a little bit about what I've been up to. TL, what have you been up to?
Well, I've traded my coffee machine for a blow-up mattress. Gail continues
to watch
to
TV.
Yeah, it's to sit. There's no place to sit in my house other than this blow-up mattress that like slowly deflates, and so like every 20 minutes you have to like fill it back up.
Riggs, have you heard about this?
Yeah,
No.
just-
So what happened?
So Dre's moving to the UK,
Yes.
killing me inside.
And so we're selling our stuff, and Gail's a great saleswoman. So much so that she's
Better
like
than
selling
you.
some stuff. Yeah, seriously,
Cold.
a little bit prior to I think when I would have tried to sell it, like because we still had like 3 weeks, and I had to like sit somewhere every day when I worked and stuff.
It's true.
So now I have like a blow up mattress that's just in the middle of the empty living room that I lay on to watch movies and also work. It's a pitiful sight. And
Sounds like train spotting.
and then like when
Are
I'm
you,
in an
like,
interview,
shooting up in the
when I'm
living
in an
room?
interview, I have to like stack pillows to sit by the desk, and then behind me is this blow up mattress. It's actually the joke plays. I'm just like, yeah, I'm moving
come
like
round,
literally
bro.
next week. Like, and they're like, no, in a week. I'm like, actually,
You're like
no,
3
3.
weeks.
But I have to live like this for a while.
What have you been watching on your
What have I been
makeshift
watching? That's
couch?
good. Yeah, that's fair.
I love you had to preface this whole section
Yeah.
with that. Like, I don't have anywhere to sit, Riggs. What am I going to do?
I
my
can't watch
saggy
stuff.
couch. Where there's a will, there's a way, and the Rings of Power rewatch continues. Yeah, I'm loving it, dude. I basically like at night I have a pint, hang out with the little hobbits.
Since the missus
this also
is gone.
sounds weird. Hang out with the little hobbits because the missus
Whatever,
is
I was
gone.
referring to a little Indian boy before, and it's not accurate, you know?
And yeah, we just have a pint in my hobbit time and me, and it's great. It's good times. It's I really have you seen Rings of Power, Riggs?
No, I haven't. Which it's probably a mistake, but
are you a fan of?
Addy's a huge fan.
It's all right.
Is
You
it
haven't
good?
seen it. Hasn't even
I've seen
seen
3
it.
episodes of it, and I kind of got bored. I hated the Hobbit stuff. What can I say?
I mean, that's like saying you got to what's that guy's name in the book? The crazy.
Bombadil.
Yeah, that's like saying you got to Tom Bombadil. You're like, yeah, it's not good.
In fairness, Tom Bombadil is a weird fucking
Yeah,
character.
it is.
I'm glad
Like,
they cut him from the movies. I'm glad you're dead, Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Riggs, what have you been doing?
Me, I've been busy. I've had 2 massive music video shoots happen in quick succession. One for a New Zealand band, or New Zealand and Australian band called The After, for their song called Mesmerize. It's on the Hit 66 YouTube channel if you want to check it out.
Throwing everyone out of the water. I see the sun shining from your eyes.
And that was cool. It was like a
Plug,
transcontinental shits. Like they shot some stuff there and we shot some stuff here. So that was really great. And then one of the musicians who's on my company's label, Hit 66 Records, is a young rapper by the name of 24/8. Just supremely talented young man. Just like, I've been a hip hop fan since I was 15 years old, and this guy's got it. And he needed to get a film clip to a specific representation in the States within a few days. And he's like, do you think we can pull it off? So we shot it on Sunday. I edited it on Monday and handed it in on Tuesday.
Wow.
So it was pretty intense.
Sounds like a Craig David video.
Craig David.
Met this girl on Monday. I took a photo.
It's exactly that. Yeah, he did a cover of that song. But yeah, so it was kind of a
awesome.
hectic production schedule on that one. But it's it dropped yesterday and it's got 9,000 views on TikTok or something. So it's he's doing really well. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Good for him. That's awesome. Well, plug. What was the rapper's name again?
It's 24/8, and the single is called 8ville. And it's kind of
and
like
he's found an extra day in the week somehow.
No, 8ville is a place. You got to listen to the song; it'll make sense. But we kind of shot it like a horror movie. Funnily enough, talking about Alien Romulus. And it
we
looks
never
really
talked
cool.
about what we're talking about this week. That's exciting, isn't it?
Spoilers for what's probably in the name of the podcast.
No spoilers. So it's a horror movie raps. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. He's such a talented guy, and we had so much fun, just shooting the shit out of it.
We will
and then
link
it together.
the TikTok in the episode.
That'd
we will
be cool.
absolutely do that, so you guys can go and check it out. You absolutely should.
Awesome.
I've been doing a fun thing this week. So DL, you mentioned last week a show which had come back and was having its 2nd season called The Jinx.
Ah, yes.
Now, have you finished it yet?
No, I'm on episode. We're watching it together, so I gotta wait.
You gotta wait for
because
the
she's
part to
out
come back.
in Santa Barbara partying.
We smashed through it. So effectively, Riggs, if you don't know what The Jinx is a show on what we have binge over here, HBO Max, etc. And it's about this real estate tycoon who is literally a murderer. And the first season is fantastic. It's so interesting. They're literally interviewing this guy. Bob Durst he's called, not Fred Durst. I found that out. It's not Limp Bizkit.
Don't
Bob
you
Durst.
soil Limp Bizkit's name with murder.
I don't know if you've seen him recently. He's a different character. Anyway, and the whole season has this amazing ending with this bombshell, and you just sit there and you go, how can this end like that? And the second season comes back and follows the events after the first season.
Wow.
It's really good. It's really fantastic. Highly recommend. The second season's doesn't quite have the sparkle of the first. I think you'll agree.
I mean, it's impossible to.
Of
They
course.
caught Genie in a bottle with the first.
Of course. But it's super interesting, and it's also interesting that it follows some of the families as well who are trying to get some closure for what happened in the past, even if, it might not be through the legal system. It's very interesting. Very good show, and I would recommend anyone go and check that out.
And it's separated by 9 years. The first series came out. First season came out in 2015.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Wow.
Really interesting.
And there's a reason for that. I don't want to spoil it for you, but
no, it looks good.
Yeah, I would say. So you would say, after watching the second season, that the biscuit is limp, or is it not limp?
It's very, very interesting you say that. Have you ever heard of the biscuit game from the UK? You moved to the UK, so
Gross.
Okay.
I know what you're talking
Let's
about.
not go too deep into that. I've actually been up to one other cool thing, and I think you'll like this, Regs.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been absolutely binging last week tonight with John Oliver. So
Love it.
I think we actually talked about this just the other day
We did,
over the Instagrams. I find John Oliver bloody hilarious. Everything about him is just great. The show, it's political satire with really good comedy, just like really well structured arguments about why Trump is shit, etc. It's kind of the pivotal point of a lot of it. But it's just a really interesting show and puts a spotlight on things that you maybe wouldn't think about in your day-to-day life, or some things that don't make the media as much as maybe they probably should. And I think they dropped almost all of their main segments on YouTube recently. So I've just been absolutely binging them. Like if I've got a spare 20-25 minutes, I'm like, put on John Oliver.
Yeah, he's the best since Jon Stewart, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. He wrote for Jon Stewart. Do you know that?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense. He's like, everything he does is just so well researched and clarified. And I come out of it going, I watch a silly, funny YouTube video feeling like I've learned something.
I'm informed.
Which isn't something I get a lot of. Yeah. You love it too, though, Regs, right?
I do, yeah. I watch it religiously. Sit down, cup of tea, watch John. He was the one I said to you. He was like, Subway smells like the answer to the question, what if bread could fart? And that was it. I was hooked. It's just my kind of silliness.
He comes up with these analogies, and I just don't know how they do it.
Sometimes I actually, when I'm like in a weird mood, it's like, I don't know, you don't have Taco Bell here, but it's the same thing. I know it's terrible, but every now and again,
I've seen the memes.
I will eat a Taco Bell and I will eat a Subway, and I don't want to think about bread farts. So stop it.
Sorry, it's what's
now
up.
It's in there. That should just be the slogan for Subway. Not eat fresh. It should just be bread farts.
Oh God.
Subway, you can have us sometimes. It's all right.
Yeah. It's all right. That should be on the. That should be
It's
on
all
the
right.
posters.
Great slogan.
Guys, if there's anything we haven't talked about that you would recommend, I would definitely recommend going away and checking out John Oliver Last Week Tonight. All this stuff's on YouTube. If there's anything you want us to speak about that we haven't, hit us up at Podcast Assemble on Instagram or thepodcastassemble@gmail.com. You can find us everywhere. If you can't find that stuff, just go on our website, www.podcastassemble.com. All our details are there. All our podcasts are there. YouTube stuff is on there too. We're on YouTube. We're Podcast Assemble on YouTube. That's coming back soon. I've got a video that I'm definitely going to be dropping this week. I said that last week, I think. YouTube stuff is coming back, I promise. Hit us up, send us memes, send us news, send us reviews. We love it when you do. DL.
Yes.
Do you want to preface our main topic this week and why?
It's the main topic theme.
Yeah, of course. This week, Alien Romulus. I actually was meaning to look up why is it called Romulus, other than like the ship
It's
had
the
the
ship.
Rom. But like there's probably some other deeper meaning that it's a Greek story.
Romulus and
Romulus.
Remus story?
Yeah, I
probably.
forget what it's about. So
If anyone would know, it's Regan. He's too heady for his own good.
I don't know.
Fuck, you
put him on the spot there.
No, I don't. They kind of half explain it there in a little pictogram of like, because Romulus and Remus were brothers or something.
Well,
and, yeah.
You guys just wait until we get to trivia, true or
Okay,
false. There
good,
might
good.
be a little something sprinkled
back.
in there for you
Smart
at the end.
man. Yeah.
Bringing it back around. And we've actually been doing the original Alien movies. We did up to 3. We never quite got to 4. Resurrection.
Yeah, this-
I watched that
one's
one
too-
really recently.
Did you? How was it?
It kind of holds up. I mean, apart from the fact that it's all Joss Whedon-y and, fucking
Yes.
everyone's smirking.
It does
and
have the
shit.
Joss Whedon. It was written by Joss Whedon. I found that out recently.
Yeah.
Which one is that? Is that where they go to? Is that the prequel to the prequel?
No, the Alien 4 is where Ripley is resurrected.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's a
God, I
clone.
haven't seen
Yeah.
that one.
She's a clone, and
I
it
don't know.
effectively has a human-alien hybrid in it. So, interestingly, just before we get into this, did you both know the really interesting story about how James Cameron was able to create the second Aliens film?
No.
Allegedly, James Cameron walked into a meeting, was very young James Cameron. I think that was pre-Terminator 2. And his pitch was he just wrote aliens on a board and then turned the S into a dollar sign. And the board went wild.
Hey, man, that guy's a savvy businessman. I wouldn't put it past him.
He knows how to talk to execs. I'll say that much about him.
Yeah, know your audience.
That's right. So
Yeah.
we're going to be doing non-spoilers and then spoilers in a little bit. There's not too much to spoil in this. We're going to be talking a lot about the film, but gents, I know you both have stupid plot summaries. Hit me up with your best. I'm going to leave it up to the professionals this week.
All right. This week, OG Wiz, that darned Xenomorph, is back to making some trouble in another deserted spacey ship. And oh Butternuts, that AI fellow is acting real suspicious. And Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall and said he'd call me Sally if we haven't seen this before. But do I give a fuck? No.
Why did you turn into a Midwestern?
I
That
don't
was the
know,
most
dude.
American you've ever sounded.
ever in your entire life.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much. That's fantastic.
It's true though.
Good
It's like
one.
the same story. Like substitute. The other one was substitute the cat for a mentally handicapped AI, and it's basically the same story.
It's a very similar. Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Reeks?
That is, I don't know if I could follow that. I had two. One is in space, no one can hear you make fun of the only black guy on the team. Bjorn's
I
a
heard.
dick.
Oh, we all heard.
Yeah. And this one is a little bit more accurate. In the future, a bunch of sexy 20-somethings journey to an abandoned space station only to be hunted by an unyielding Leviathan. It's Jason X. Oh no, hang on, wait. It's Alien Romulus.
I thought you were going to say it's Harvey Weinstein.
No.
God.
I think the black joke got me in trouble enough as it is.
Guys, this is from director Fede Alvarez, who you all know from Don't Breathe and The Evil Dead.
He does horror.
He does horror
That's
good.
his thing. Yeah.
Like good, and I'm so glad they brought him in for this because at its core, the Alien franchise for me will always be horror.
Texas
We've talked about
Chainsaw-
this many times, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But Alien, the first one's been my favorite forever. So I'm so glad they brought him in for this. It's got Kaylee Spaney, who you will know
Civil War?
from Civil War.
Yeah.
It has David Johnson as Andy, who we just talked about a moment ago, who is the malfunctioning. What's the word I used previously?
Android.
He's
meant-
synthetic. That's what he is.
yeah. But you said he was malfunctioning. I said he
Synthetic.
was mentally challenged.
Of course.
Yes, that's what.
I mean,
that's how it went down.
let's get into that in a minute. We also have, and I wanted to call this guy out specifically for you, DL.
Yes,
We had Archie Renault as
from
Tyler,
your favorite show.
from your favorite
From
show,
your favorite show.
Shadow and Bone.
It's the show favorite, Shadow and
that
Bone.
you've
Are we
watched
getting
2
to season
seasons of.
3? The Acolyte's been canceled. Don't you do this to me,
Bring back
Netflix.
Shadow, hashtag bring back
Give-
Shadow and
bring,
Bone, baby.
Bring back S and Bone
It's
and her
no.
yeller.
Oh no! Don't do it!
and
Don't
her
Google
yellow
that.
teeth.
Don't Google that, kids.
I keep
Don't
watching
Google
these
that.
stupid shows. I don't know why I do, and then they all get canceled. Like Disney keeps doing it as well now, dude.
Dude, Shadow and Bone was so bad.
I'm over it.
Did you also notice that this film had Isabella Merst in it, who is from Madam Web? And you'll remember that, Reeks. We did that together.
That's right. I didn't realize until you just said it. She's great.
Yeah, she's really fun in this. And there's a couple of other people in this too. You know,
She's beautiful.
there are people and stuff.
What else is she in beyond that? I've
I've
never
seen her in a
anything.
lot, but she's very good in that.
I think we should bring back Goofy IMDb for this one.
My lord.
Because there is a guy in there who is 75% neck, and it must be spoken about. I'm sorry.
To preface for the audience, Goofy IMDb picture, we're not making fun of people, what they look like. It's more about this is your way to a grander audience, and why is this? I mean, DL usually makes
We
fun
keep
of people.
saying that, but we're
It's-
making fun of it. Like, can we just be honest with ourselves? We just said he had a long neck.
Yeah, but I mean,
He
he
does
could.
have a long
It's a headshot. Like he could do a full body, and it would look
No.
in proportion. But he didn't do
He
that.
would need two
You
headshots.
would need at least
with this neck.
double
Like
double
it
the
would be
head.
like a 2-frame. You couldn't do it with one.
It's the first neck shot in history. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
our current Goofy IMDb MVP is Mr. Peter Mackenzie, who is Elendil from the Fellowship of the Ring. And you know, DL, he's giving off fantastic geography teacher vibes.
Geography, like maybe geology. I don't know, something with a G.
I love that you bring back Goofy IMDb picture whenever you join us, Reeks.
That's my favorite.
It's fantastic because I regularly forget to look. DL, who do you think is the goofiest out of those two?
I mean, I think like this isn't a goofy shot. He's just a goofy
He's
looking
just-
dude. Sorry, like I mean, and he got
It
cast
doesn't-
as the alien.
Right.
You know,
He
what it
gets
is,
cast
spoiler.
in Alien.
So
He unfortunately he doesn't actually fit the parameters of Goofy IMDb
No,
picture.
he
So we
doesn't.
love that you brought that back, Riggs.
Man.
Good effort. We're gonna stick with the current MVP.
there's another one though.
You can't be far off winning Goofy IMDb
There-
picture round.
Did you see Anna Marie Griggs?
I did not.
She's just like there with a horse.
What? How did I miss that one?
It's like what's going?
Hang on a
Like,
second.
it's like what?
You can't even see a face.
Why?
Half the
Like,
face
she's
is
got like
like
a
a
sun
horse.
hat and a horse.
That's a Goofy IMDb picture for you, right there.
To be fair, I think she's just a voice actor though. That's probably why.
I mean that doesn't matter. This is her way into the world. Maybe she wanted to be on screen.
It's an odd choice.
Oh my god, it is. She's the voice of Mother, and she's got a horse. Damn it! I missed the horse lady.
You had one right there.
It's
Actually,
an odd
that's not a
choice.
horse. It's the other guy I was talking about before. It's the same. They were in one together. Is what happened.
That's really rude.
Oh no, wait! It is a horse.
let's talk about this goddamn movie, guys. First question up top. Are alien movies good again?
When were
Yeah.
they bad?
Oh, come on, man. AVP. I know, I love
that
it,
doesn't
like, in a
fucking
cheesy way,
count.
but...
Yeah, they even didn't they cancel that as a part of
they
the lore?
cancelled a lot of them. I mean, let's be honest, 4 wasn't great. 3 was only okay. They've not really been great since Aliens $.
What about Prometheus and Covenant?
Did you like those?
I rewatched Prometheus last night, man. It slaps.
I didn't mind
okay.
Prometheus, but people hated it.
Which was the one where the scientist just didn't run sideways and ran straight away from a vertical ship? Was that Prometheus or was that Covenant?
I don't remember that part, but
they all Covenant got a bit weird. There was like a civilization of aliens or something.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
I haven't
Covenant
seen that
got
one
weird.
yet, so I was going to do that tonight.
Oh, sorry. Well, I don't even think it's a spoiler. Prometheus I liked it because it expanded the lore, but other people hated it for that.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
revert back here for a quick second then. Regs, which is your favorite movie in the Aliens franchise?
It's probably Alien. I think
Okay.
I think
Yeah, it has to be.
Aliens is a better executed picture, but yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be Alien.
It has to be. And this movie for me, I tell you straight up top, what worked for me was this movie brought back a lot of the best bits of what I would say are 1 and 2, but was also absolutely terrifying in doing it. And it just created something new out of this mishmash of fantastic ideas that shouldn't have worked together, but really did. I really stand by that. I thought
The
it was
Force
awesome.
Awakens of the Alien franchise.
It kind of is.
It's 100%. It's like literally the same movie as
Why
the
wasn't
first
that
one.
your stupid plot summary?
Well, I had so many, dude. This one, I don't know. It
Share the
inspired
love,
me.
man.
We'll go back and cut it in. Yeah, I think the way that it was able to not only you're right, bring back the elements that work so well, the horror, the blue collar workers, it's and the corporation kind of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. I was going to say the same thing.
But injecting into
Rain,
it,
more like Ripley, eh?
yeah, exactly, and it's injecting into it like the plot summary I had, the joke about the Jason X picture. It's a joke, but it's true. This is a teen slasher from the 80s.
Oh, absolutely.
So
is.
much so that they went back. Fede Alvarez went back and recorded because back in the 80s when they were making these horror movies and stuff, they were still recording sound on tape, like on tape reels. And then around 93,
Oh, yeah.
94, they started doing digital. And digital has no like peaks, no range. You can kind of peak out anywhere and still fix it. But on tape, when you hear a scream, it's always going to be intense. So he went back and remixed it.
Interesting.
They released it in 1:43:1 IMAX, which is closer to an old school TV screen that you would watch a VHS on. Like
There you
it's
go.
just got these 80s slasher vibes. I love it.
Well, I mean, that's so interesting because also Fede Alvarez sought out the special effects crew from the original Aliens movie from 1986, the ones who worked on the Xenomorph. So everything from the physical sets they created to practical creatures, the miniatures, effectively everything that laid the groundwork for the later VFX. He got those guys back to sort of help with this project. And you can tell, like, it
Yeah.
shows there's so much love in this. It's like, it's really, really well done.
Yeah, they were
Absolutely.
creepy again. They weren't.
Okay, I'll reverse my question. Are Xenomorphs scary again?
Yeah, they were.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it was the face huggers in this motherfucking thing.
Like the bit where the alien like unclicks all its like hand. Ugh.
Oh, the facehuggers were pretty gnarly too. But they always are.
I've never seen him do that before, like the scene where, spoils, but the scene where they have to change their body temperature.
Yeah.
Fucking, I after that stopped, I felt my body untense. I was like, oh Jesus, like it was really affecting, and I
Your erection
haven't
went
seen
down.
that. Yeah, my
don't
erection
even
went
know,
away.
like-
I love face huggers, mate. They just suck all day.
Well, we actually
I
sat
loved-
there. We were actually sat there, and we were. I couldn't help but laugh because there is obviously a part. It's an alien movie where a face hugger gets one of the crew,
Yes.
and obviously it wraps its tail around her neck, and everyone was going, "It's choking her! It's choking her! Get it off!" And I turned around to Dre, and I was like, "Maybe she likes
Maybe she's into it.
that. Like,
Maybe
let her
she
make her own decision. Like,
She
don't you
seemed to
take
calm-
that away from her."
She seemed to calm down. She seemed to be in a zen state
Dark.
at a certain point. What
Some
I
people
would
like that.
I would just say I loved a lot of the set pieces, including the one you referenced, Regs, where with the body temperature.
Absolutely.
Didn't love the guy not turning his headset off speakerphone.
Oh my god.
Like when they just decided they were going to sweat it out and that they can hear sound and sense heat. You got headphones on, dude.
And one of the best. We're getting way ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
One of the best and worst things, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. For me, is that as good as this is, and as fantastic, as much love has gone into this and care and attention, it does still, in some instances, fall into some of the tropes of just generic horror movies. Like some of the decisions they make, like that. are dumb as fuck.
They're also like grounded in like he wants to save his sister.
Of course.
To be honest, it's one of the more I would actually say it's one of the better ones in terms of like their
Absolutely.
motivations, because they're just desperate enough that you're like, okay, I understand why you're.
In
I don't want to be
yeah.
in this. This place looks shitty, dude. Can we just talk about where they were?
100%. Let's talk. I mean, just let's start from the beginning, because I think it's interesting to preface this, like where they are and why they're there. The thing I love the most about this is that the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, they're massive dicks. I mean, you get flashes of it in the other movies. The reason they're trying to keep the aliens alive and maybe keep them back, but the whole point is that this group that we are leveled with, they're from a mining colony, effectively, which is just a huge planet, which is just slaves. And they're just trying to escape slavery.
Well, they're like indentured servitudes or something, but like they change the quota
slavery,
in front of them. It's like
it's
honest. Indentured servitude it's slavery under the guise of indentured servitude. And I mean, it's pretty dour initial setting. Let's be honest. It looks like a shithole. It's stated that it's a mining colony as you see it as a shithole for the first time. Then her quota goes from like done to 12 more years or something. And then there's like, a little runner that's like, how days of sunlight 0 a year. And then I'm like, oh my God, you forgot to talk about how the water gives you chlamydia. Like, how can this get worse? Like, literally, it's like, I was like, oh God, yeah, get me out of here. I get it.
But I was
bought in.
I absolutely love that they've gone back to this grimy, disgusting 80s-ness. And you kind of touched on it before, Regs. It's an 80s, which is like weirdly futuristic for the technology, but also so 80s.
Yeah.
Like everything is like block code on the screen. It looks dank. It looks grim. And the very first movie was that. They were just miners, right? That were coming back from a job. So it's like, I like that they've gone with the gritty and dark again.
I do too.
The working class in space, because that's what would happen. Like if we were actually able to, interstellar travel became something that was just normal and happened every day. Of course, we would be mining other planets for their resources and stuff. And who would do that? It would be working class people. It's not going to be fucking your Richard Bransons and shit. They're the one paying the bucks.
I will say though, like these guys, this company seems to have a pretty good monopoly going. They're not getting any heat. Like, can't they just be normal capitalistic assholes and not chase the aliens? That's good. It's going to ruin their operation. They've got a good thing going here. They've got regulatory capture. What are they doing?
I mean, maybe they want to create the perfect workers. Maybe that's what it's for. They want so they never fucking sleep.
Yeah, man.
So.
There are so many interesting life parallels as well in this. Like, I love how Fede Alvarez has taken like a snapshot of middle class society and lower class society and gone, let's fucking show it up there and really rub it in your face.
Yeah, and simple things like prejudices. Like, again, my plot summary was a joke, and it has nothing to do with the actor being a person of color, but the stigma and the that you have being a synthetic, and the hierarchy of where you are in things and what you're used for and all that stuff. Like, talk about indentured servitude. These things are created to do that, and that's and the thing that really got me more than anything about the whole film was that I really gave a shit about these characters.
Absolutely.
Particularly, the scene, I won't spoil it, but when it's the brother and the sister and the door, and there's that decision, the decision is made and
hold the door.
Yeah. And it's just like, I was really gripped,
Yeah, absolutely. And tension Fede Alvarez just does so well.
Yeah, and I think it all starts with their motivations.
Absolutely.
Like every single one of their motivations makes a ton of sense.
And as well, I think there's one thing to mention on that as well. They're multi-layered motivations. A lot of these movies come out, especially when these rebootuation type things, which I'm going to call this as, it's in that category. I'm going to call it. It's a rebootuation for me, where you get these quite one-dimensional characters. Like you look at Twisters, there's literally nothing behind the point of them. One dude wants to do YouTube to make some money, I think. I can't even remember.
And one wants to solve Twisters. Yeah.
Right. So wants to save Twisters.
Put cheesels in them or whatever the fuck she does.
Whereas this one, each character has their own like mini arcs to them. So one of them's pregnant. One of them, their mother was allowed to die by another synthetic. So they have these layers to them that builds characters that are worth following, and you're interested in following them. We were taking bets at the beginning. We're like, who's going to die first?
You got to do it.
We both thought it was going to be the one whose mom had been killed let die by the synthetic.
Well, what I knew, like right at the start of the movie, we saw like the synthetic, and we're like, oh, what's like going on with him? I was like, well, he's obviously like a robot. Because I was like, they're not just going to have like
Pegged it
some
immediately.
like, mentally challenged individual just get killed by an alien. Like Hollywood's not about that, dude.
Well,
No way.
I wonder
So
because there's in a lot of movies, and I really I find it really challenging when you see this, but like when they do the whole autism is a superpower thing, that like I don't know why it really winds me up, because it's like it's great to have representation on screen, but show it for what it is. Don't try and make it out to be something that it's not. And I'm glad they didn't make this character just an autistic character or something like that.
Well, that's what we thought it was. Like, obviously, it's nothing like that, but we thought it was at the start initially.
Well, you pegged it immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, you were like, that's a synth. I was
So
like, all right.
So you're not a fan of A Beautiful Mind? Academy Award winning Australian actor.
It's a different kind of film.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the cinematography and world building in this, though. It's got a lot of parallels to the first one, like we talked about with the crew. And there's little details in this that really stand out to me. And I think one of them's kind of spoiled in the trailer, and I was a bit annoyed by it, actually, because I'd have loved to have seen it in the film. There is like an X-ray lamp, and you can see that these scientists, so effectively the crew we are following, get to a new ship that they are trying to escape the mining colony on. And it's a bit of a wreck, let's say. And we all know where it's going because it's an alien movie. But they've created like an X-ray lamp, and it's clear you know by osmosis from the other films that that's probably to see whether someone's got an alien.
They know,
gestating
why it's
inside
there.
them. But they're just like, haha, cool, look at this fucking cool X-ray thing. But little things like that, and you see that they're making technologies to try and counteract what the aliens are doing. Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
They do a lot of that, actually. The idea of that using what we already know about the franchise to its advantage, the shape of the xenomorph,
Absolutely.
the huggers, the face huggers, the space travel, the functions of the universe are so clear they don't need to set them up. They can just go.
Yeah.
The acid, blood, all that stuff.
I love that.
Exactly.
You're right. They did a really good job of like creating, like using that to do novel things in like really, really cool settings. Like I love Chekhov's gravity timer.
Completely.
Like it was awesome.
Agree.
Yeah.
They've always got one of those. In Prometheus, it's the medic bay, the bed thing that she gets the thing out of her from,
Yeah.
I like at least in this, they're not like scientists. So like, you know what I mean? Like they're going onto the ship.
They're
because
very
they
much
want to
out of their
escape.
depth,
They're
dude.
so out of their depth. Like it's like the first one. And maybe that's what's different here. So with the first one, they're so out of their depth that when they get picked off by the alien, it's realistic. And when they survive, you feel good. You're like, oh my God, someone actually survived this. The second one, they're all Marines and they're all pig-headed and they're all, they all think they're the best. So when they start getting picked up, right? When they start getting picked off, you almost like feel for them. You're like, holy shit! Like they're really getting their feelings thrown in their faces here.
Yeah.
But after that, they're all scientists, and you're like, if you know what's happening here, why are you putting your face over that weird egg? You know what I mean? Like, just don't do it.
Don't put your face over the weird egg is something I live by. Honestly, it is
in
one.
general,
I've got a T-shirt that says that.
If I was space traveling, that'd be the first thing I'd avoid. Like, I
Any
think it's in
eggs.
Covenant where he sees a little space snake, and he's like, oh, "Look, a space snake! Let
That's
me put it
Prometheus.
right up to my face."
Yeah,
By Prometheus.
and he's playing with it. I'm like, you fucking idiot! You're in space.
So dumb.
Have you never seen a movie
And
before?
it's a snake. Have you never seen a snake before?
It's 2091. You've seen the first Alien movie, you fucking dick.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. So this movie, Romulus, is canonically set between the first two movies. So it's roughly 20 years after the first Alien.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot of sense with the setting, because you find out that the crew have been working on an alien. I mean, how does the film happen if not of this space vessel that the group we're following jump onto? And it actually makes a lot of sense to be set in that time before too much is known by humankind about the aliens, I think.
Yeah, we haven't actually said why they're up there. They're desperate to like get off this slavery island or slavery island, slavery planet.
It's called America, Dre.
And there was
That's why he's moving to the UK. He's not moving home. Like, let's be real.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, there's a scrap, and they're like, oh, we can go get a cryo tube from this and get to the next island that like, or why do I keep calling it island?
Why do you call it island?
Next planet that basically the only upgrade is, I don't even know, maybe they're still in slavery, but they have sunlight.
I mean,
it's like this is it was
exciting.
Depressing, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all effectively just trying to escape the slavery, and I think that in itself is a good enough motivation. I don't know about you guys.
And it's the classic, thing that propulses a movie forward. There's a clock. Like, okay, this thing is going to crash into the rings of this planet. and it's going to disintegrate when it does. That setting that up is we're always on a clock. And then by the time you get to the third act, that clock has run down again for whatever fucking reason. The thing's off its axis and blah, blah, blah. Like, it plays into the tropes that we know so well, which is why it fucking works, because those tropes work.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a lot of aliens in this one.
There's a bunch.
Like what?
Right?
But subtly, they weren't just not like aliens.
No, I just mean like
$sign.
I just mean like, this was kind of a contained issue, and by the end of this movie, I'm not feeling strong about humanity's chances. I don't know how it keeps going for 4 more movies. They're just everywhere. Anyway, that's a bit of a spoiler.
Well, the few get blown up, but I mean, what is the collective noun for a bunch of xenomorphs? Is it an "oh fuck"?
Yeah,
It
I
must
guess
be.
so.
Oh no, there's an "oh fuck" of xenomorphs coming up. That fucking ventilation
it's a
shaft.
gaggle of xenomorphs.
Yeah. In Venomorphs.
Just make them less scary. It's a gaggle of them. Don't worry
Gaggle's the way
about
to
it.
do it.
It's a cuddle of xenomorphs. Ridiculous.
But I think that sort of leans into the performances in this. So, we've been talking about the motivations of everyone a lot, but I think how they're portrayed on screen is really, really powerful. And, I'm going to just throw it out there. I didn't love Kaylee Spaney as the Ripley-esque character.
No.
I didn't believe, just personally, I didn't believe her as the hard-ass female badass. You know what I mean? That didn't work for me for her, even though I love her. I think she's fantastic. I think the character was written really well. I just didn't click with that. She's great. Loved her in Civil War. Thought she was fantastic. I don't know. I just feel like, and even by the end of the film, when she's supposed to be a hardened badass, you know what I mean? Not jumping too far ahead, but we all know where it's going. It still didn't work for me.
Terrible take.
That's fine.
No, everyone's entitled there. I don't think she's meant to be. She has the auto aimer gun.
You think she's like a joke?
I don't think she's meant to be like Ripley. I think her whole point was she was docile. She's loving to this robot when everyone else hates it. She comes back for a synthetic that 2 minutes ago was kind of compromising them. I think she's more of a
Ripley goes back for the cat.
Yeah, that's different. She's not I guess my point is
I'm sure she goes back for newts, but whatever.
Yeah, and I mean they all do things I would have done. Let's just say that.
Oh, you kidding me? No. They all do things as soon as the xenomorph it even appears at facehugger thing. That's it. Suicide town. I'm not fucking sticking around for whatever this. I'm
yep, slavery sounds good. Let's go.
I'm happy to go back. I'm good. Is that all right?
No, I guess my point is I think she's meant to. I don't think she's meant to be a badass. I think she's kind of meant to be docile, and consistently they show that. And the only reason she gets out of that one situation is because of kind of a sheer luck of inspiration and the auto aim.
That's fair. I mean that's totally fair. I don't know. It's just I didn't 100% click with that character, which that's just me. I think there's probably other people who could have done that slightly better, in my opinion.
Is it just that you wanted a Ripley?
No, not at all. I just didn't connect with it at the time.
Yeah.
The character I did connect with was, David Jansen as Andy. Mm-hmm. My God, way to bring synths back in a big way.
Yeah, he was great.
He was playing 3 characters at once.
Incredible.
He was phenomenal. He started off as a broken robot. He then got his upgrades. So he was then a higher being. And then he had the upgrade thing taken off him. So he was then... He was then the original broken robot, but in a higher being's body. He was phenomenal.
Yeah,
he was great. I loved him.
Loved what they did with that character.
Yeah, he was definitely the highlight.
He definitely highlight performance wise. Yeah,
absolutely. Just and so many layers to it. I love that he kept having his what was his programming overwritten over and over again.
Primary directive.
That's right. Yeah, that was a really interesting twist to it.
And they did a great job. I think there's a cool twist at the end that I think that was earned.
I just want to talk about the cinematography real quick because it's
no, we're talking about something else, Regan.
How dare you have me on the show?
We know you're the heady one.
Look,
come on.
If you were to make a candy podcast and Willy Wonka wanted to come on, you'd fucking listen to him, even though he's fictional.
I don't know. He'd kill a lot of children to get there.
And enslave an entire race of miniature creatures as well.
I saw a great meme the other day that was just something like Willy Wonka's giving Charlie the keys to the chocolate factory, and as he does so, he's like, just have to talk about the PR situation that's happening downstairs. Now you have the keys to the chocolate factory. A lot of kids just died. Yeah. So I'll see you later.
I'm going to fucking the Bahamas or wherever the fuck they don't have
flying up in my thing into the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Go on, sorry, you were talking about cinematography.
Yeah, just thinking about it in terms of its 80s horror kind of vibe, and Fede Alvarez has come out and said that, releasing it in the IMAX format and all that stuff. It's the practicality of it, having the xenomorphs be built and having those sets be built, like traditionally they don't build roofs on sets anymore because it's harder to get lights in. And they did, like, and they, do CG and they green screen and all that stuff. They actually built sets. He wanted 360 sets. He didn't want anything to be movable. He wanted the space to be confined. They don't have floating walls or anything to make it easy to use longer lenses. And it really helps, like, as much as CG effects has come so far, like practical effects, light hitting an object on camera will always win, because we can look at, and later on in the film, when we get to spoilers, you can see artifice a mile away, and as human beings we're genetically engineered to recognize that. If you show me an actor standing in a shot with a dude in a suit that's covered in slime and being operated by 4 other people because it's got a huge tail, you got me. You're always going to win.
Sounds like me, Regs, on a weekend, covered in slime with a huge tail. Well, I absolutely agree. I 100% agree.
What the fuck are you doing?
This
What situation is that?
I'm just going to leave that to the listeners' imaginations. I completely agree. I think there's some interesting tidbits within that. So, like, there are bits where the face huggers, there's scenes where they are tiptoeing around the face huggers, and they are real in those scenes. And it makes such a big difference having them literally there. Like, they could have been CGI. That would have been so easy to have just had it CGI, but having them as puppets and having them moving in that space and physically there just makes them more imposing somehow.
And also marrying that with, some well-executed CG, like when the facehuggers first sort of appear out of those sacks and they're in the water and they're trying to get out that door, and they finally do, and the facehuggers sort of open it and then smash through that door, a whole bunch of them. They're pouncing all over the place like fucking, huntsmans, which are a type of spider here in Australia, everybody. They're legitimately threatening. And I never went, they look CG, because they've already set up the fact that they were practical, in a scene previous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you laugh at my huntsman joke?
No, he made a noise like he was Michael Jackson.
I was like, I like huntsmen. Exactly. Yeah.
There's some really awesome cinematography in this to combine with that too. So there's a couple of scenes that really stood out to me during the film. I'd love to get your take on them. So first and foremost, there's a shot when they're walking through the Romulus ship to try and find their companions who've crashed on there. And it's a shot, and it looks like they're going down it's effectively an escalator. And they're going down, and it just looks like it's this huge city, this vast ship. And just having that as a set encapsulated how big and how grand space travel really is to me, and how almost mundane it felt at the same time to like the people who would have been there. I was fascinated by that shot. It was beautiful. It was so well. It was it was really beautifully composed as well, the way it did it. And the other one I thought, and I actually called out to you at the time, was there is a shot when they're almost looking over the character's shoulders. It's Rain and it's Andy and it's Tyler, and they're about to leave a room to go down a corridor that looks dark. And you're staring at the screen and you can see there's nothing there. And then one of them goes, "Hang on a minute." And as soon as they say that, you see there is an alien on the side, a xenomorph on the side of it. And you go, holy fuck, that was there the whole time. And because the cinematography is so well done, and because it's so perfectly lit and created, even as a screen in a screen, it just makes all the difference to me.
It does. Yeah. And it's also having the and brave's the wrong word, but having the cinematic balls.
The balls.
Yeah, or just having the chutzpah to allow things to be dark, to allow real blacks to seep in and have that richness and have the texture that you get without, you don't need to light everything like, in a volume. When you're on a set like that, you can have some slithers of light and then everything else be dark. And as long as you can understand where everybody is in space, you can make, not space as in up in space, but in the space that you're shooting, you can make those choices to be a little bit bolder with your color temperatures and shit.
You might be the only person I know who uses the words chutzpah in a sentence. I don't know if I've heard anyone else ever say that, but I'm pretty sure that's at least the third time you use it on the podcast.
You're welcome.
And I respect you for that.
Thanks.
He's got chutzpah.
I do. I have
it
lots
to the
of
table.
chutzpah. Yeah, I've got it heaps.
Just very quickly then, before we barrel on, The one minor bugbear I did have for this was it felt like it had a lot of endings. Like it didn't feel like it knew when to end.
Isn't that every Alien movie?
Right, and it's very
It's like-
Lord of the Rings in its
Yeah.
in its ending. It carried on and on and on, and like I was like, now they're gonna, I was like, oh my god, just know when to end. So that was like just one little thing on the pacing that just irked me just a tiny bit. If they had to have something,
I knew they were gonna. You know they're gonna do what they're gonna do with an alien.
Of course.
Doesn't it always end with like the after spaceship like having another alien? Like,
getting away,
yeah, it's like,
absolutely.
anyway,
What do you think of the action before we move on very quickly?
it was awesome. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, tense.
like all the whole ending sequence is crazy. The stuff where you thought it was the ending sequence
Absolutely.
before was great.
Yeah.
It was just really. I think if they just used novel ways of making the action, like slow build and then release and then tension build again, like the elevator. There's so many
Absolutely.
things. Yeah.
I think the characters, I think they built the stakes nicely. Like you felt emotion for these characters. So the stakes were real to you. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just some big CGI monstrosity fest where nothing really meant anything and everyone was invincible or you could pull another one out of a multiverse. Everything felt like it meant something. You know, like when one of them gets sniped up by the Xenomorph's tail, you're like, holy shit. Like, so I think the action was really well coordinated in that it took you on a journey of I am absolutely fucking terrified to being like, holy shit, that's a Xenomorph, it's gonna kill us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took you on the wave almost.
The sequence that stands out for me is the acid corridor, basically.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was again like
Super interesting.
things I've never seen. Like when I first saw the A-Team,
Things you've never seen. A man eating a baby.
I've never seen a man eating a baby. No, not once.
Well, what's that from Team America?
Yeah.
A man eating his own head.
When I saw the A-Team, the movie that they made with your favorite actor, Tommy, Liam Neeson,
Oh, Liam Neeson.
Um,
I remember.
and Bradley Cooper and all
Bradley
that stuff.
Cooper was in that for some reason.
Yeah, because he needed to put a new bathroom in his house. But the final fight scene in that is amongst a bunch of shipping containers. This is pre-Iron Man 3, and there's shipping containers being blown up and falling all around and all that stuff. And I was like, I've never seen that in a movie before. If you do something in a movie that I've never seen, I'm going to give you more props than I would normally.
Props.
I had never seen some of the stuff they do in this very, very long-running franchise. In this movie, they've never done before, and I was like, "Ooh, all right, that's
Multiple.
it's like Prey, you know?
yeah.
Never seen that
Absolutely, yeah.
version of fucking a Predator movie before.
I love
to
the
Harvey
ice.
Weinstein.
I love the ice ring as well. Like it was just like kind of cool looking. You see it in the background slowly approaching.
Oh, right.
Like
yeah.
as the
planet.
movie and they kept showing it, and you're like, oh yeah, there is a timeline. Like it just reminds you they've got like 45 minutes
And
without
keeps
them
you staring out
saying
the
it.
window.
Like
Yeah, absolutely.
it was cool, man.
Okay, let's do some tones and themes. What are your tones and or themes? I got modern slavery, obviously. I feel like there's a lot of parallels to real life in that. And I just feel like, the obvious one, at least to me, is that humans are just destined to make the same mistakes over and over again. We're just idiots at our core. You know what I mean? Anything
Yeah.
for a profit.
I think it's like more nuanced. Like what I took, it was like our biases can blind us tragically, and that could be both the AI. That could be the human.
I was meaning the company.
No, I get it.
The
Yeah,
same mistakes over and
Yeah.
over.
yeah. No, but I like the bias thing because it's like the AI was biased at
Absolutely.
one point, and then it was like the human was biased. I like that like duality to that they kind of
Okay.
played with.
Riggs?
Yeah, there's, like what the company wants is perfect workers, what the AI wants is perfect humans. And so that's the kind of the two modes of thinking, that the way that a corporation and the way that a higher intelligence would think. Working classes versus the corporation, the fact that, people who are blue collar in this universe, and not too dissimilar from the world that we live in, work themselves to death for people who will never
Absolutely.
even touch, where they are, these people who are on high, paying the bills. Youth in Rebellion was definitely
actually.
pretty high on the list, again, coming from the slasher genre. It's, the guy, when they go into, they pull up through the 0G and the guy smokes the huge joint in one puff
That was
because he's
sick. That was
being
cool.
assisted by the pull of gravity. That was, straight out of a slasher movie. Like, of course, he's going to die first. Jason would fuck him right up.
Oh, died second though.
Did die second. We called him as
Spoilers.
That's true.
I know. We both went. He's gonna die first, and when that's too obvious, he's got to be second.
Yeah.
Well, he died stupidly.
Yeah, dumbass.
If someone had been fingered like a couple of minutes earlier, they would have been first.
Yeah. Yes.
All right,
yes.
let's do 3 best and 3 worst. I mean, it's never 3, is it? Really? Let's be honest. I had my 3 best are very simply The sets, we've talked a lot about them.
Mm.
Character motivations, they're multi-layered. They're beautifully done for me personally. And then the building of new lore. I quite liked what they were doing there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Reeks?
Apologies, everybody. You can hear my cat meowing in the background. He's at the door.
No,
so
you're good, but
can't hear it. You might be able to
we
hear it
don't
on this
mind a
one. That's Clarky. He just wants my attention. Three best.
Don't we all?
Well, you've got it. David Johnson. He as Andy. Like, what a performance! You're right. He's in
amazing.
3 modes,
Truly.
and they're all combating each other all at once. Incredible stillness. Loved him. The score is fantastic.
We didn't even talk about it at all. I
Yeah.
I have it too. Yeah.
I was listening
Bummer
to
that we
it
didn't talk about
afterwards, and it's got some propulsiveness that would put Trent Reznor on his ass. Really, really cool. And the slasher elements, new to the franchise, in particular the stay calm and stay quiet scene that we were talking about, where they sort of go through, things I've never seen in the franchise, like the facehuggers being a legitimate threat on their own outside of being able to impregnate you with a fucking xenomorph and shit.
Brilliant.
It's quite similar, to be fair. The visuals and action set pieces, I think, like they were just super nuanced. The score, which I'm sad we didn't talk about because it is so good.
Mm.
And then the characters, like they felt real.
It did feel real.
They felt like, like
friends.
understand their motivations. I understand this kind of dickhead's bias. I get it all. Like it all makes sense.
You see more than just color, don't you, Dre?
And CPU.
He sees
RAM.
sound as well. He's Kanye.
I see more than RAM
of
limit.
the people.
Yeah.
TL, the man of the people, burrito king.
I love it.
Oh God, I'm gonna get a burrito tonight.
Oh, that'd be good.
Maybe sushi.
Okay, let's do a quick worst. Just let's do one each because it's such a good film. DL?
Like I guess part of me is like, it's not worse, but I already kind of talked about it. But it's like, can't these guys just be like mustache twirling monopolistic profit takers without having to like it never really feels explored like why they care so much about this bioweapon. They seem to be like in a pretty good place. Like why do they keep trying? It keeps going poorly. Are they like at battle with some other civilization?
Why does anyone do anything? Like in terms of like the tech world, tech just keeps innovating for the sake of innovating.
Yeah, but that's not I'm sorry, you stealing my data is not the same as a xenomorph.
I don't know. They're trying to make the perfect workers.
Facebook search, dude. Don't spread alien xenomorphs all over the galaxy. Anyway,
I think it's the same motivations that Vincent D'Onofrio's character has in Jurassic World, where he's trying to we want to drop velociraptors into war zones. You know how difficult they are to control to anyone? Did you not see the first movie? Like, what the fuck?
that's what I said. By like the 5th one, you're like, guys. Like, so I would like some like just easy little sprinkle of lore to like help me understanding
that. more
just to
about
justify that
motivations.
absurdness, right? But
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Riggs?
I can't really talk about worst without spoiling some stuff, so I might come back to it. But the recall of the this isn't spoil anything because you don't know when it comes. Get away from her, you bitch line. Like, you didn't need that. We know what movie we're watching.
Yeah.
It's got alien in the
You
fucking
didn't need
title.
that at all.
Yeah,
That's a great point. That's like the time is
like
a
that
flat
point.
circle and the True Detective. It's like, dude, no, don't love that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm one as with you. I think finally, just to wrap that up then, for me, it does fall into some of those tropes of horror movies. I think I called it out top. Like, just not a lot, and it doesn't really take you out of it because it's such a good film, but they're there, some of them, some of the decision making. What can you do? Such is life.
Yeah.
Let's move on then to the critical reception of this film. Can you both guess for me the current IMDb score?
I feel like it'd be low. I feel like people are going to be harder on this than they should be. What is it again? Is it out of 10?
Yes, out of 10.
It's probably like 6.
I don't think it's an 8. I think it's more like a 7.
We've got a 6 and a 7.9. They're vastly different in terms of IMDb. He's actually currently at 7.5. So
good.
For IMDb, that's a bit over average. Like
I thought this was getting good reviews. I'm surprised.
Well, what do you think the Rotten Tomato score is? It's a percentage.
92.
Riggs?
81.
I heard 92 and a 1 corner. I heard 92 and a 1 corner. What do you say, Riggs? It is exactly 81%.
Oh!
Good job.
What do I win?
Blind nuts and squirrels and all of those things. Okay, then. So, Letterboxd, it's always 3.6 out of 5, but it's never 3.6 out of 5. What is it?
3.6 out of 5.
Riggs?
It was 3.8.
It's 3.7.
Oh, no. Split the difference.
Should have split the difference, like Price is Right shit.
That's right. And finally, then, we ask the simple question. Because the internet's so binary, our rating score is simply, is this better or worse than the most average movie of all time, which is Aquaman 2018, and why? DL?
It's better. I mean,
Yeah, of course it's better. Riggs?
Yes, it's better.
Imagine if Regs was just like, nah, shit. It's way worse.
Does it have an octopus playing the drums? No.
Then it's worse. We've actually had a couple of worse recently, haven't we? So
I mean, I'm oftentimes saying worse.
you're
lately.
jumping right to worse.
Yeah, I
things.
go worse lately. No.
No, this is way better. I had a lot of fun with this film. Should we do a couple of spoilers?
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's an important one we need to talk about.
Go for it.
Raising the dead. Like, what the fuck are we doing? It's worse than The Flash. Indy 5 looked better than it as well, and it was less offensive. And this fucking AI shit, man, it's so insincere.
We're talking about Ian Holm here, clearly, as
It's just
as the returning Rook.
It's
as
not even
and
like
for
I've
no reason. It could have been anyone. It could have been any synth that is moded to what's going on in the story. It could have been Mother. You could have had that dead synth on the ground and had that plugged into Andy. You didn't need it to be this. It's only to give you that thing, and like it just
Nostalgia.
yeah. And again, like the authenticity and like sincerity are two critical things you need to make art. And as soon as you start doing this kind of stuff with AI and shit, you remove that. And every scene he was in, I wanted to throw up because he looks like a weird monster person. I'd rather fucking go up against a xenomorph, mate.
It also just like wasn't good.
Oh, I love you're an
Like,
angry old man.
it feels like it's gotten worse. Like I remember seeing like the Luke Skywalker in Star Wars and be like, I don't love it, but it's not terrible. Like there was like a random one where I was like, I could like I squint my eyes a bit. This was like obviously a video game.
It was really
Yeah.
bad.
It was like
His
oddly
face was
bad.
too small,
And it kept like
for the-
shrinking.
Yeah,
like
it was odd.
yeah. And also, isn't he dead?
Yeah, he is.
What
Yeah,
was the point
that's
of
what-
bringing
He
him?
is the most amount of dead you can be.
No, I mean just like the character.
Well,
The
After-
character. I
after-
thought he died.
if you remember after the first one, plus it's an android. I think they have lots of different variations on said android. So anyway,
But his
the
name was
net of
Rook.
this is they bring back Ian Holm's synth character as Rook, and I kind of like taking away from the fact it's hideously done from CGI. I kind of liked what that character was doing for the story. So effectively, you thought he was trying to help them by giving them access to the computers and stuff, but really he was actually manipulating Andy, who is the synth of the team, into doing what the corporation wants.
And that becomes his new directive, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I actually really like what I did with that. And he was, he was trying to manipulate them the whole way through. He was giving them all different information, telling them that one was dead and one wasn't. If you go here, you can save so-and-so. And I thought that really worked for the film. It's like that unreliable narrator going on. They all kind of trusted him, but why are they trusting him? Almost like the guy who hated the synths was right in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Part of me's like, but if you use his face, we know not to trust him.
I mean,
So is it
we
better
do.
if you don't know?
We do.
Yeah, but my point is
They
like,
don't.
is it better if like that even the audience is like, I'm still like I'm double unsure. Now I'm unsure about him. I'm unsure about the other synth. Like I don't know. I think we all agree that it was a bad choice with the.
It doesn't, like, story-wise, it doesn't make any sense either, you know?
Yeah, that's my point. I don't think it helps the story either.
It
So I
doesn't.
guess the net of this is that on the ship, on the Romulus ship, they had extracted the original Xenomorph from the first film, and they
Yeah.
had created a bunch of new ones. So there were eggs fucking everywhere. They weren't actually eggs, were they? They were made in test tube facehuggers.
Facehuggers, yeah.
So many of them, and there were so many Xenomorphs. They'd literally killed and taken over all of everyone, all the staff, all the scientists, everyone who was on board the ship, and they were running rampant, and it was fucked up. So they turned the temperature right down to make it too cold for them to be alive, I guess.
Well, this
I
went
think
into
they might
stasis.
just use-
Yeah, like hibernation.
Yeah, they go into that hibernation state, and when the group we're following take out one of the pods to try and charge the hibernation pods, they set shit loose. It's like fucking Jumanji. They all come.
Yeah, quite a few. of
It
them.
was like fucking Jumanji. There's monkeys driving a police car.
Oh, that's a great scene. Bad CGI, but great scene. The thing is, like, why wouldn't you just use synthetics
For what purpose?
for like the entire? If you're running a research, if you must run this stupid research, which I still don't see why they do. Why
Mhm.
are you using humans that can like then be commandeered? Like use synthetics that can't be like commandeered by the facehugger.
Maybe. It's
Anyway.
not a terrible idea.
And also, why does Rook think like it's like, okay, we had all this infrastructure to really test this out. We've got 4 more tries at this. After you had 200, it's like you guys haven't figured it out. You're not gonna figure it out on these 4. I don't
So
know.
what are they trying to figure out, Regs?
I think they're trying to, again, it depends on who you are. Like the corporation is trying
Yeah,
to build
absolutely.
a perfect worker. And Rook himself is trying to build a better human, you know, like they have the cylinder from Prometheus, where they found the perfect organism in that liquid that he then gets fed to Kay, in order to heal her, but she doesn't know what it's going to do to her, and hence you get the hybrid.
I did not know
yeah,
that.
I think it's
You
about.
went for P at that exact
I
moment.
missed that
I tried
part.
to explain it to you and you weren't listening.
I was
so.
like, he does kind of look like the Prometheus guy.
It's So the cylinder thing, and it's got that goop in it. I would have only remembered that if I'd have watched it because I watched it last night. I wouldn't have remembered that otherwise.
Yeah.
So what effectively happens is on the spaceship, the scientists are trying to get whatever the genome is that can bring the aliens back from effectively
the
certain
old
death.
alien. Oh, okay.
The original Xenomorph.
Got
And
it.
they've synthesized this black substance, which, we
Prometheus.
know, being the audience, these idiots don't know, that is effectively from Prometheus. And so they've been feeding it to, animals, testing it on them. The animals had actually exploded into xenomorphs themselves, creating different hybrids of them. And they think that this serum is going to create the perfect worker. That's why Rook's character is trying so hard to save it, manipulating, the group into bringing it back for him. And they actually use it on the pregnant friend to try and save her.
Well, she uses it on herself.
She
which
does
which
to
is
try
a
and save herself
mis-
effectively
which-
because she's an
mistake.
idiot and she falls off a big. She falls off a big thing.
That was pretty. You laughed.
That was
Well,
You
she
laughed
gets
hard.
speared by one of the xenomorph tails, doesn't she?
She does, but before
Slap.
that,
I think she gets slashed.
but
I don't
before
think
that, she falls off
yeah.
a big thing like an idiot.
Yeah,
She
but
does.
that was like totally relatable.
I mean, she was very
like you
scared.
were like, oh my god,
All right.
you know you do the same thing. Like I would have fallen.
And the fallout of it is that instead of her having a baby, the baby is effectively co-opted by the alien, the xenomorph creature inside her, and it births an alien-human hybrid, which you've just watched Alien 4 recently, Reed.
Yeah,
Did it give you big Alien 4 vibes?
it did. Yeah, I mean, it's better executed, and it makes more sense too.
Yeah.
and it was
And it
like-
doesn't look fucking terrible.
a bit of body horror going on as well, which is new for this shit. So, outside of the
absolutely.
synth stuff, yeah, I dug it. I thought it was cool.
I thought it was really fantastic and really interesting. When it came back, and Dre thought it was going to, I mean, you said to me, you were like, oh, it's going to spare the mum. But no, it was literally sucking the life out of it. It was
I thought it was like, well, because I couldn't remember like what happened in Alien 3. Was it like was Ridley sick or was she pregnant? I couldn't remember.
Alien 3.
Yeah.
She had the chest burster in her the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's why I didn't want to attack her.
Right, exactly. Because I think it was a queen in it. Anyway, doesn't matter. Effectively, they have to kill this alien human hybrid, which they just call the offspring in the film. And yeah, they fire it out of the spaceship into the ring of whatever the planet is they're on.
Brutal.
I actually quite liked the ending. Like I know
No, it
I
was
said
really
it went
cool.
on too many. It went on for too many endings. It was the Lord of the Rings, but it kind of made sense, and I liked what they did with it.
And it also gave us the opportunity to see our heroine fight in pajamas, because that's what happens in
Absolutely.
the original as well.
Because that's literally the Alien franchise.
Well, that's it. Did you like the parallel / juxtaposition of the fact that our heroine was using a freeze gun to try and kill an alien versus in Aliens where she's using a flamethrower? I really liked that.
And
it
a
was a
fucking
nice
mech
little
suit, no
play
less.
on the. Yeah,
It seems like the freeze gun is more effective. They should be.
Well, she knows that
It
it
should be
works because they were all
mass-produced.
frozen, so.
Yeah.
That's right.
God, they have to ruin pajamas for me. Like, God, the idea of being like vulnerable and chased by an alien in pajamas,
In
like
boxer
ruins the
shorts,
comfort
get
of my-
fucked. No way,
of my
mate.
yeah, fucking no way, dude.
So anyway, you asked right at the very beginning what the significance of Romulus and Remus were. There really wasn't one. It was more or less just the ship that they were on. It's a net. That's what it was, which is a bit sad, really. And it basically comes down to, you see the ship's logo halfway through where it's a wolf standing over two children, and that's effectively the story of Romulus and Remus, who were raised by wolves.
So there's no
It
like.
wasn't that interesting. I was
Yeah.
a bit like, what? So is there going to be a Remus now? Is that what we're going for
Oh,
next? Like,
you
what
know,
are
you think
we-
there's going to be some kind of like metaphorical
right, raised by wolves?
connection?
Like, what
Yeah.
is the connection here? There
Yeah.
not one, and it was a bit. I was a bit like, oh, that's cool.
Unless it's the corporation trying to turn these creatures to their own whim, they're raising wolves.
Possibly, but they're definitely failing at that. Do you have anything else to say in spoilers?
Oh yeah, the AI when he I love how they like made it kind of his choice in the end. It was like, you know, it was adequately vague where it was like he could choose how to like interpret the directive and he makes a choice.
Well,
That was cool.
Rain used the directive against him effectively.
Yeah.
She flipped it on him, and he had to then go back to being original Andy.
Well, I think it's like
with upgrades.
I think I like that. I don't know if it's that clear. It's like, did she flip it and he had to, or did she flip it and he chose?
Mm.
Like, I like that. I think it was vague.
Interesting. It was. I mean,
Yeah.
it was definitely vague.
There's some
I like
ambiguity
those
there.
little-
The scene
Yeah.
where Kay is attacked and then she's on the other side of the door and her brother and Rain are trying to
Oh,
get her
amazing.
out and Andy's just standing there
Amazing.
going, I can't do it because they're waiting for us to open the door and that's when they're going
We
to kill
die.
all of us. Like, it makes sense.
And I got to say, that's the right decision.
Yeah, but it's like emotionally
Brutal.
It's the best scene in the film because
Yeah.
you really feel that, you know.
Absolutely. And you were talking before about the scene where the face huggers were in the room and they turned the temperature up to match their temperature. I quite like that as a proto semi-action scene where, with the temperature going up in the room, the tension was driving up as well. And you were mentioning before, DL, they had this radio on loud, and you could literally hear everything happening in the room where she was getting beaten up by the alien. And I was like, this is terrifying. But then obviously it turned into an action scene because everything
Run.
flipped, and Andy just gives the run.
Run. Yeah, I mean,
really like that scene.
that's
It had
such a good
everything.
way to end a scene like that as well. Like, you know,
Very Doctor Who of him.
it is a bit hooey.
It is a little hooey. All right. Shall we, gentlemen, move on to trivia, true or false?
Can't wait.
Love it. This week I'm going to play you off against each other. You each have 2 trivia, true or falses, and we'll see who wins at the end. Firstly, DL.
Mm-hmm.
Director Fede Alvarez used a remote control soundboard connected to the loudspeakers around the set to spook out the cast during the shoot. Is that true or is that false?
Sounds like a good way to waste some budget with some mistakes, but true.
It is true. It contained various sound effects like the Xenomorphs and alarms. I mean, way to keep your crew on high tension, right? Very Alfred Hitchcock of him. Riggs.
Mhm.
Trivia true, trivia false. When the station's computer reboots, there is a subtle reference to the HAL 9000 AI from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Is that true or is that false?
Yeah, I think Fede Alvarez is a sci-fi nerd. I reckon that's the case.
He seems like a big old nerd, and it absolutely is. There is a reference which is MUTHR 9001, so that's the mother reference.
mother reference,
I quite liked that. That was very well done, Fede. DL. Trivia true, trivia false. Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley was in covert talks to return to the film, with initial discussions being touted as having her make an appearance in a post-credit scene. Is that true or is that false?
I'm going to just say I hope not and put it as false.
It is false. That's the one I made up this week. So well done, DL. You smashed it. You caught me to my own game. Okay, finally then, Regs.
I must say, just before you go into one, speaking of Sigourney Weavers, I sent my dad a message the other day and asked him, "Do you think anyone else is called Sigourney, or is it just her?" And he wrote back, "You know, in the olden days, we had to weave our own Sigorneys." And fuck, man.
Was it you sent me that? I'm sure that was a meme.
No,
It started as a meme, and I sent it to
best.
my dad, and that was his response.
Brilliant. What a legend.
He is a good dude.
Trivia true, trivia false, Riggs. In the background of several shots, the emergency telephones that function as save stations in the video game Alien Isolation can be seen. Is that true or is that false?
I have no idea. I haven't played the game. I must say no.
It is actually true.
Balls. Titty balls.
Much like the game, they're typically a sign that something awful is about to happen. So there you go.
Because you got to save before you
Right.
Yeah.
go into like a
Pretty
boss.
much. Oh, I love a good video game reference. Look, ultimately, I had so much fun with this film. DL turning away and squirming in his chair was an absolute highlight for
Forgot
me.
my hat. I
He
usually
couldn't
use a
cover
hat
his
to cover
eyes,
the
so he
eyes.
just had to turn away in the chair. It was just chef kiss. It was beautiful. Riggs, thank you so much for coming with us on this.
My pleasure. And look, I dug it a lot. I think this is like Prey, you know, the Predator prequel that they did.
Absolutely.
I could get one of these every year in different scenarios with different casts. Yeah, I love it.
Love it. Riggs, where can they find you?
You can find me everywhere. I'm all over the place. I've got the Film Addicts
Wow.
podcast. It's a bit
He's in your
slutty.
house.
Yeah, Film Addicts podcast.
You
with my
are a
man Addy.
podcast slut. We know this about you.
I'm on heaps. I've done 2 this week already. Yeah, so Film Addicts podcast with Addy. Hit 66 Sound and Screen is the name of my company. There's also our recording studio, Capel Sound Studios on the peninsula here in Melbourne. Yeah, come and check us out. We do fun shit.
They do awesome stuff. Go check them out on Instagram. Check them out on YouTube. They're everywhere, and it's really awesome content. Regs, thank you so much for coming with us. DL, do you want to wrap up the show?
Of course, you guys can find us on thepodcastassemble@gmail.com if you want to contact us, or Podcast Assemble on Instagram. Tommy's got a YouTube page going on there. He keeps saying he's going to drop a video. He keeps the anticipation
It's coming
rising.
this week.
We will see.
He's busy.
A big thank you. What was that?
We were all busy.
Oh, yes, of course. A big thank you to Matthew Bliss for editing and mastering this week's episode. If you'd like Matt to be part of your podcasting team, get in touch on business@mbpod.com or head to mbpod.com to find out more about his services.
Weeks like this, I feel like Matt hates us because we often talk about films that have just come out that he wants to see. And before he's seen them, he has to edit our podcast. So, Matt, we love you. Thanks for helping us out.
I did not know that. Oh, man.
I never even thought of that, actually. The poor bugger. Like, fuck, I really want to see aliens, and these
We love you,
dickheads
Matt.
keep ruining it.
I mean, it's a good movie. If you want, and you know what, you've already seen it.
And we didn't do a great job of spoiling it anyway, so who cares?
You've already seen it because you've seen the first. If you want to hear his work, listen to Coffee with the Podcast or short thought pieces on topics of podcasting. Sure.
Awesome podcasting.
Cup of Joe.
And while you're there, why don't you give Matt Bliss a 5-star for that
Please
podcast?
do.
Just like you could do for us. You've got your app open right now. You're about to close the app. Before you do, give us 5 stars. That'd be really nice. Thank you so much.
Until next time, team.
Tally ho, baby.
Thanks, Riggs. Thanks, Tommy.
Peace.
Tally-o.